Hello everybody, let's get going on making this trim. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is go to our channel box and we'll make a layer. Oh, I already have one. So let's just add this to this layer. So add selected object. So now I can hide that at will. And I'm going to go ahead and just make sure I lower the opacity of this material just a little bit so that it's easier to see my curve, and go something like that. So alright, let's go ahead and draw a curve here. So we just want to go to curve surfaces. I prefer using the Bezier. Anybody who's watched my videos before knows how much I like the Bezier, and so we are going to start off with that, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit right here and click on the Bezier tool. And don't worry about getting perfect right away because we can fix everything later. So I'm just going to click once for a sharp corner, and then you click and drag to get a bit of a curve. So click and drag a little bit, and then click and drag like so. And since I want to get a corner inside this little nook right here, I'm going to go ahead and just click there, and I can zoom in a little bit if I want here. Kind of drag that one out, so on and so forth. And I'll drop one in the middle here, just a single click. Oops. Single click, and then here's where I'll go ahead and just click and drag to get a curve. Maybe another one here and here, like so. Click, single click, and then one in the center. Okay, so let's go clean this up. I'm not going to close it right now because I can do that later with a bridge. So I'm going to go ahead and just right click, go to control vertices. First thing I'll do is just straighten these out. So I'll get my scale tool, straighten those out. I can grab this, go to my move tool, hold X, and I can snap it to the middle of the world. And then I'm just going to go through and take care of some of these little pieces that need to be straightened. So like these three probably should be straightened. So we'll go like this. Oops. There we go. This one here, make sure those are straight with each other. These two probably should be. Something like that. And maybe pull that down just a tiny bit. These don't look too bad. Just some slight adjustments. And we can do some straightening here too. Why not? Let's snap this one to the center, hold X. There we go. Okay, looks like we're pretty good to create a loft now. So that's step one, that's creating the curve. That wasn't too rough. And all we have to do is, let's go to our perspective view. And I'll right click and go to object. You know, while I'm here, let's go ahead and make this a reference so we can't select our reference from behind. And I'll hit Control D on my keyboard, Control D, and then just move this up. And so I can grab the two of these. So Shift select the other one, and now we can do a loft. We have to have our loft settings correct. So I'm going to hold Control and double click on my loft tool, and for some reason Maya has been opening these windows all huge, so I have to adjust them. There we go. Okay, so you can see right here everything is reset for my loft, which is good because I want to show you how I would set this up. So I'm going to go polygons, and then I'm going to go general, quads, and then choose this per span number of isoparms. And then these become multipliers of what you already have as far as your isoparms. So if you need to get a more defined object, you can go ahead and just up these numbers. And from here, we just hit apply, and we'll watch the magic happen. Okay, so let's see if we can see it like that. There you go. All right, and I'll just close that window. Now it looks like my surface is reversed. That's okay. We can just go ahead and grab the faces, say mesh display, reverse, and now it's faced the right way. And for right now, actually, I'm just going to get rid of these edges. Control backspace. So just double click on those and then control backspace. And then if I want to patch up the back here, I can just go ahead and bridge these if I like. But so we have to decide how we're going to handle these open areas on the ends. There's a couple of ways we can approach this. If we're going to eventually use this as like a sub D, then we're going to have to fill this hole in properly. But let's go ahead and show you kind of the fast methods first. So if I go ahead and bridge this, now I've got that back on there, and I can go ahead and just take this object. Actually, let's just oops, looks like I'm selecting these curves, so let's go ahead and hide those. Control H. So grab this object, I can right click on the edges, or I'm sorry, right click at the edges and grab both these, and then just go to mesh fill hole. And then I've got basically the hole filled, but this is like a really ugly engon. And if we're gonna do like smoothing on this, that's gonna look terrible because it's gonna look something like that. So that's not good. You could hold it a little bit better by grabbing the faces here, and you can do an extrude, hit the extrude, and then just do an offset of like maybe 0.05, and you get basically like a little fencing around there. And it's not really going to hold much, but what it will do is it will allow me to go to object mode and then go to mesh display and say soften edge. And then when I deselect this, you can see it looks kind of like it's beveled. But if I was to select this now and actually hit 3 on my keyboard, we'll get a similar mess as before. It's just not quite as messy. So we'll talk about how to patch this stuff up in a little bit. One thing, if I've gotten this far, I might want to drop a few edge loops in here, like so, just to hold these edges better and to have the shading look better. I think we got that'll work, but it's not pretty. This edge right here is really close to that corner, so it's almost looking like a triangle, but it's not really. We can drop an edge over here to fix the shading here. There we go. Drop one here, and then one up here. So now we've basically let's do one here too. Now if you look at this, it'll look pretty good, but we would still have a problem with this if it was a sub D. And I can't really rotate this the right way, so I'm going to actually take this, let's take the whole object, and we'll delete the history, freeze the transformations. Let's go ahead and just rotate this by holding J. I'm going to rotate it this way 90 degrees, and then rotate it this way 90 degrees. There we go. Okay, so J just lets me snap. Alright, so looking at my object here, this could work as a profile, so we deselect it. Like it looks okay. We probably need to add some edges here. Forgot about these to fix the shading. Okay. Alright, now we're good. So this should be fine. This could be something that you use as a nice trim. All right, so if we went back to Photoshop and looked at our examples, let's see here, and we went here, we can see this top example and this bottom example. So this piece here and this surrounding piece, they're actually the same exact shape. So we basically, we've got this bottom piece done. We just have to put an angle cut in here so that we can connect these So we're pretty far on our way to getting some good trim. So that would be fine. You really wouldn't have to probably bevel this too much if you did the shading correctly, just because the fact is that it's going to be so small and probably pretty far away from the camera that you wouldn't see it. So it's probably going to look pretty good just the way it is. If it was going to be closer, like a hero object, we'll talk about that later. That's where you would need to fill this and do a sub D type model. But for right now, this is going to work. I'm going to duplicate it, so I'm going to hit Control D. I'll hide the original, Control H, and then we'll go ahead and just show how to do this angle cut here. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this out a little bit, and then I'm going to actually take this piece and I'm going to go Control D, and I am going to hold J on my keyboard and rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to pull it down like so, pull it over. So I'm doing this as basically another reference. This is going to be, there's a point to this that you'll see in a second. So let's see, is this my front view? Yes, it is. And I think I'm going to move my pivot. So I'm going to snap my pivot up to the top there and hit D to undo that, undo the pivot. Live pivot. So okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to take this and snap it down to the top here, about right there. There we go. I think that's snapped. Looks like it's off for some reason. Nope, it's on there. Okay, so what we want is we want to have like basically a cut that would go from here to this point right here. So we basically just need a 45-degree angle cut. You may say to yourself, well, why don't you just go back to this view here, and why don't you just take this face, you know, grow your selection once, and then so you get the whole side there, and then just rotate it 45 degrees. Just let's go like this. J. Uh-oh. What is happening here? Well, it's a novel idea, but it doesn't work, as you can see. You start getting like a taper in it because it's not the right length. So you're actually taking a shorter length and then rotating it, and so everything starts compressing into that area. So what we need to do is we need to have a way of cutting 45-degree angles, which in Maya we do. So the way to do it is you want to get your cut tool out, and then you want to go to your modeling toolkit, and you have an increment snap, like a snap step. And if you hold shift on your keyboard, you can see here, like I'm getting like, this is always actually in the center if you just hold shift. But if I hold control and shift, you can see it's snapping, okay? Well, it's snapping to 10%. But for what we need, we actually need it 15% because we're not gonna get the 45 cut if it's at 10%. So if we snap at 15% and we come, let's go into our orthographic view. Oh, come on, Maya. Orthographic view, front. There we go. I want to come by the corner here. I'm going to go a little bit inside of it, but not actually on the model. I'm going to hold shift outside of the model and start dragging towards the other corner. And you can see there's our nice cut. So it went at the right angle. Now the problem we have is I think we need to be like in vertex and deselect those. And let's do that again. So hold shift, drag towards the corner, and some reason it's not cutting. Am I in the middle of something here? Let's drop the tool and restart it. Let's see here. Let's try that again. Maybe it's cutting and I'm just not seeing it. Well, it should be cutting, folks. It should be, but it's not. Let's select the mesh. Let's try this. I know this should probably work. All right, that one worked. Hey, we finally did it. We're so cool. Okay, but see, now I screwed up because I don't want to cut it to there because I want to actually be on this side because I'm not going to get the nice flush corner that I want. So I'm going to actually stay a little bit over to the other side of it. And there we go. Now we got it. So select all your polys and then it should work. All right, so now I just click on one of these, shift double click on the other. It'll grab the loop going up. And you can delete that, but you're also going to have a face on the end that is not deleted. So we got to go to perspective view. Let's grab this. We'll delete that. And now I can grab this and just delete that for right now. So now you're getting that 45-degree angle cut. That's what we want. And what we need to do now is just basically mirror this in another direction. And that's going to come in the next tutorial.